Welcome to The Scoop with Dukes. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka Dukes the Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at DukesTheScoop. And please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. This is, of course, an AU scoop. See that? And reason being,
Hey,
this is why you've got Zac Blackerby, the #1 show on YouTube in podcast world for Auburn sports, Locked on Auburn. My man, Zac Blackerby. What's going on?
hey man, good to chat with you. Good to chat with you. Started with an early call of me issuing an apology, and now we're recording a show.
Man, how crazy is that? Matter of fact, let's talk about it. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Zac, I'm
please.
gonna let you break it down. And then, okay, so what happened
Yeah,
this morning?
yeah.
How did we
On
get on the
Friday
phone?
mornings, yeah, Friday mornings edition of Locked on Auburn. Daryl Dapprich and I, who I know you speak with as well. We were talking
There,
about, why we think Auburn has a shot against Missouri. And during that conversation, I misquoted you, or maybe a more accurate way to say it is I misrepresented something that you said, because I do think those things are slightly different. And
Mhm.
I called and I said, hey, I saw a clip, and then I quoted or referred to you saying that Auburn lost the locker room, and that is not what you said. That is not what you
Right.
said at all. So I sent you a text. I'm like, hey, let me know when you're up and going. I need to call you and apologize, because that is not the right thing to do. So thank you for your grace on that, my
Oh
friend.
man, and so one thing about it, and what I love about this, and this is about not just this situation, but this is about who we are as people.
Sure.
Accountability is everything in this world. And for you to call this morning, I'm like, now you didn't owe me a phone call. You could have simply,
Sure, I did. I think
no,
I
no,
so a lot of people would say that. I think I did, because I mean I
right,
can't tell
right,
my kids to act a certain way and then me not act that way. But
man.
I understand what you mean.
Okay, now this is a really great point because this is kind of what, and I don't want to just keep harping on the Damari Austin thing, but this is the part of the reason is because we talk about how we consume the way that we're trained to consume information now, that in 15, 20, 30-second clips, we don't get the total depiction of what's really going on. And even somebody like me and you who have been trained in this media space for years, we could get, it could happen to us. And that's where, my whole thing was with Coach Freeze. I'm like, hey, Coach, you know how people will take this. Maybe you could have worded it differently. And Coach Freeze did go back and reword it and, apologize and say that he misrepresented how he felt about Damari Austin, and he did not want his character to be questioned. And he did it on multiple platforms. I think he went on the barn. I think he called Mike G. He talked to multiple people. So
Yeah, he definitely had intention of damage control, like trying to change that message. But you know, and it's great that he did that, and that was the right thing to do. But also, like, once it's out there, it's tough to kind of get it all back, especially when that first one's at a pretty public press conference that everybody's kind of in the routine of saying. And so we'll see. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong though, and like I think that's what the pushback has been. It's not how he necessarily handled the situation with Damari, it's what he said about how
mhm,
he handled the situation with Damari. Would you say that's
right,
fair?
no, absolutely fair, overly fair. And like I said, man, Hugh Freeze ain't an orator; he's a football coach. So, um,
Right.
you would ask, and I think that's why. To our next point, I think that's why when I asked the question, did Hugh Freeze, or when I was asked the question, did Hugh Freeze lose the locker room? And I'm like, no, not because of that. Because people understand the society that we're in, and these are businessmen. You're not there. It's hard for a guy to be making the type of money, and I took it. I took it to dollars and cents. If we assume this is a $25 million roster, and you've got let's say 100 players, that means on average these guys are making $250,000 to play football at 18, 19 years old. You cannot. There are not a lot of people who are going to be so sensitive to that fact about words that they would jeopardize their money, whether here, in the next place, or in the NFL. So I think there's an understanding there that understands like, hey, that was some BS, but we still got a job to do. And
Sure.
they understand Damari's portion of it too, where it's like, hey, look, we would like you to be here, but we understand you need carries to go to the league. Okay, from that perspective, I feel like the locker room is intact. But the one thing I think that could make people really lose faith is another game where the offense is scoring 10 points in the SEC. What do you think?
Yeah, especially in a loss. If you win 10-7, does it feel a little bit better? Sure. But yeah, I mean, if it's a similar situation, like let's take the score of any of the last few games, 20-10, or you lose by 7 or whatever that might be, and you're not breaking 17 or 20 points. Yeah, I think the pressure is on him to a point where he may not survive it if you're able to like lose against Missouri in that fashion. So for what it's worth, I have Auburn winning this game 20-17. I think they figure it out. I think it's low scoring still, but this defense has done a good job pretty consistently holding teams for like 12 to 14 points under their average. And so that's right around where Missouri would be if that trend were to continue. And look, this Auburn team is battle tested. This Missouri team is not. I mean, they didn't play anybody for the first, several weeks of the season, and then they play Alabama and lose, and everyone's like, "Well, they play tough. They play tough. They almost beat Alabama." And I'm like, "Well, hold on, hold on. Why do some teams get credit in the court of public opinion for being close, and others don't?" Auburn has been heartbreaking for years how close they've been. So like not the exact same situation, but the way people talk about Missouri, it does seem like they're jumping through a few more hoops than they probably need to in this situation. I think that's been interesting.
Let's talk about that word almost. That has been we're the kings of almost, Auburn University.
Goodness gracious. Yeah.
The kings of almost at this point and being close. We continue to hear Coach Freeze talk about how close Auburn is. When you hear that word close in reference to Auburn's current football situation with this team, what does the word close mean to you? Does it mean close offensively? Does it mean, some people are even joking, does it mean close to getting fired? Like where does the what does the word close mean to you?
It means you're losing football games is what it means. It means you're not finding ways to win in so many different ways. And it goes back 3 years. Close on the scoreboard is one thing, but the offense doesn't seem close to me. But the games have been close for sure. But close means you're losing, Dukes, and that's really what it comes down to. If we're winning every game 13-10, there's some concern, but everybody's happy.
That's your identity.
Yeah, right. And you can win football games that way. It's not, I don't think it's extremely sustainable in the conference that we're in, but like you see it in, the Big Ten or whatever. But I think close means you're still losing and you're just trying to figure out ways to take that next step.
What about Missouri scares you? Is there anything that Missouri does really well or that you say, you know what? I'm not sure if we'll be able to stand up to that. What scares you about Missouri?
Yeah, they're edge rushers. They're very good. They're very good. And, Auburn's offensive line's been so interesting because they're giving up pressures and they're giving up sacks, and some of it's them, sure. But when it's on them, they're not getting beat physically. They're just not blocking guys. And they did a better job against Georgia, but it does seem like there's still 3 or 4 plays a game where they're just letting a guy run free. And then there's times where I think the protection's good, but the Jackson doesn't get rid of the football, or the play call is tricky, or there's no threat of a run, and so like the opposing defensive ends can just tee off every single play. Like I think there's a lot that goes into that, but I think Missouri's edge rushers are the strength of their team. I'm not blown away by their offense. I think it's been. I think against Auburn's defense, I think that is a mismatch in favor of Auburn. But I think you can make the same argument that Missouri's defense is a mismatch in favor of Missouri.
So with them having great edge rushers and Auburn being just, I guess, adamant about throwing the ball, and not running.
I didn't know what direction you were about to go with that.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the right word, but it's like they just want to throw the ball, and I understand why. And it seems like there are times where you could just say, "Hey, let's just run it, then throw it." But I think where you're down a running back. All right, so you've got Jeremiah Cobb. I would assume that Omar Mapson is still your 2, and I'm thinking Alvin Henderson has to be 3 at this point.
I don't know. I'd be shocked if they played a third running back. I'd be surprised at this point. But Jackson, so your third running back? No, I think, I think that's enough. I think you can win in this league with those two guys. Like, I don't think the drop off from a carries point of view from Damari to Omar is dramatic. But I do think from a pass protection standpoint, I think the drop off from Damari to Omar is pretty dramatic. He was our best pass blocking back, no matter which way you spin it. Some people seem to think that's not important, but I think it's pretty important, especially with the way that this offense has tried to score the football throughout the season. So we'll see if that adjusts, if the play calling adjusts at all. But I can't imagine this is going to be the game where they just choose to run it into the ground. Being down now 2 running backs with Darrell Robinson being the other. But we'll see. We'll see what they do.
So I think one of the things that Auburn can do is to utilize the jet sweeps more often to get people on the perimeter and make them set the edge. I would think one of the ways that you circumvent the loss of a guy like Damari Austin is to put the ball in the hands of Eric Singleton from the backfield, or more jet sweeps, and Malcolm Simmons for that. What does, in your experience, what does the jet sweep do to a defense to make that offense go?
I always say at the college level and really the NFL level too, to some extent, you want to make college defensive players, whether it's linebackers or safeties or corners, you want to make them make as many decisions in a short amount of time as possible. And so whenever there's that pre-snap motion, that is the jet sweep motion, you have to make other decisions of like, okay, he's moving across the formation. Am I passing him off to someone else? Do I follow him? Oh, is he being passed off to me? Do I still cover the guy that I was originally on? And that's just pre-snap, let alone what happens after you snap the football. And so I love that. And they've been successful with it. Whether it's been 8 yard, an 8-yard rush, or sometimes it's counted as a pass if Jackson slightly tosses it, whatever. 8-yard gain on early downs. I love it. They've done a great job of Jackson keeping it because they overcommit to Singleton, which is what you have to do.
Right.
I love all of it. And we saw them kind of do some stuff off of it. I think it was against Ball State where he turned it into a wheel route and he was wide open. They also had Cam Coleman on the back end that was wide open, that was running a slant. I mean, there's a lot that you have to do. I like that you mentioned Malcolm Simmons in that role too, because they've had a hard time getting him the football, which is such a shame. I mean, you talk about, how effective this football team, or how expensive this football team is. Like, Malcolm Simmons is part of that. Like you were spending money to keep Malcolm Simmons here, and you haven't been able to capitalize on how electric of a playmaker he can be. I've got this joke I posted every week now on socials, Dukes, where I'm like, all right, who breaks out this week? I said it last week and the week before, and the week before, and the week before. I'm going Malcolm Simmons. And I said the same thing for tomorrow's game too. I think they find a way to get it to him.
I think in this right now, in the current landscape, I think, would you say the court of public opinion is saying that Hugh Freeze can't get it done, or hasn't gotten it done? How does he swing that pendulum back to saying he's the guy?
Win football games. Winning fixes everything.
Right.
I mean, even if you go out and you score 4 touchdowns and you lose, which I don't think would happen with Auburn's defense. I think if Auburn's offense scores 4 touchdowns, I think we win by probably multiple scores. But, I still think the response will be like, where was that all year? Why did this take so long? Why did it take 3 losses to get to this point? I'm fascinated with the quarterback situation, though. Like, what happens if Auburn's losing 7-3 or 10-7, or it's 7-all and the offense looks sloppy? What do you do at halftime? You've got to be close to making a call, right? You've got to be close.
Yeah, I mean, is the call made to Ashton Daniels, or is the call made to Deuce Knight? Hypothetically,
I'd be shocked if it was to Deuce.
Right.
I think it has to be Ashton right now.
When you think about what Jackson Arnold hasn't done, and we've seen him at his best, he's running the ball. Just to be completely honest, when Jackson Arnold is rolling, he's running the ball and then he's taking the shot.
Yeah, he's an elite runner.
Absolutely. And it seems like as if when forced to throw the ball, it's hit or miss. We heard about it all fall camp. He couldn't be touched, right? So it was like, all right, you lost some of the offensive firepower because you could not count Jackson Arnold as a true runner, and you weren't
Mm.
able to see him his escapability. So that has something to do with people saying, "Oh, the offense is getting whooped by the defense," and that was the whole narrative for most of fall camp. Now you're starting to see that in opportunities where Jackson can make that big throw or has an opportunity to make a big one, it's been at best about 50-50. I mean, he's overthrown some, underthrown some. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been a mixed bag. Do you feel as if that's fixable? Can Jackson Arnold hit on those opportunities when they're so few and far between? We're not seeing 4 or 5 shots down the field a game that he has. It's usually about 2 or 3, and he'll hit one, and we're like, yeah. And he'll go back and miss 2 or go 2 out of 3. Do you see a way that he can be more consistent, or is that just who we are or who he is?
It's probably who he is at this point. I mean, you could fix accuracy to some extent, but
Right,
several years into your college career, that I think that's who you are. And so I think as a coaching staff, it's a numbers game at this point. We talk, they talk about it in sales all the time. Like, how many no's do you get until you get a yes, right?
right.
How many like touchdown routes do you miss before you get one? Right
Mhm,
now, we're at 3 or 4. The 2 that Cam had against Oklahoma, and then I guess there was one to Singleton earlier in the year. Then there was one to Singleton last week. So maybe you're at 4.
mhm.
Like, I mean, that ratio should be better. I don't think anybody's arguing that. But as a
Right,
coaching staff, we're like, all right, we got to keep giving him chances. We got to keep giving him
right,
chances. He's eventually going to hit one. Is it 1 out
right.
of every 6? And so he gets the next one. Is it 1 out of every 7? So we need to scheme up 2 more before we get a touchdown. I mean, if you hit both of those, like, you might be a top 10 team with
Yeah,
one loss. I mean, that just shows how close, Hugh Freeze likes to say it. I don't think you should say it. I think it's okay if we say it. I don't think it's good if the head coach talks about how close they are. But when he says it, it's like, yeah, like if Jackson makes a wide open throw to 2 of the best receivers in college football, yeah, there's a
right.
good chance they win those games.
And it's funny. It's like playing a video game back in the day, and you get all the way to the end of Mario. It's like, oh, I was so close. And what does it make you do? It makes you go back and want to play it again. And I think
Right.
that's kind of where Coach Freeze is. He's on level 7 or whatever it is, and it's like I'm right here close to breaking this thing open with
Yeah.
Jackson. And I think that's what has him so close, or feeling how close he is, and has him so attached to Jackson Arnold in this moment. All right, so real quick before we get out of here, I want to go to mybookie.ag and look at what the odds are for this weekend. So if you have not signed up for mybookie.ag yet, please go to mybookie.ag, use my code DSCOOP, DSCOOP, and you will be able to get your money matched up to $500. And also, I think the first bet is on them. So great place to gamble. All right, and please do so responsibly. All right, so you got Auburn. You got the Auburn Tigers. Uh, okay, so the spread is shifted back to Missouri.
Mhm.
Missouri is favored by 1.5 in Auburn. But to
It's been
your
like a
point,
3-point shift.
yeah,
I think the
to your,
over under has dropped as well. I think it's dropped a few points as well.
I was going to say that. Did you say 20 to 17 earlier?
Yeah, I would take the under for sure.
So this is on a 44-point game. That tells you a ball control ball game. What it sounds like in Missouri with that stretch zone that they love to run. You got Hardy, who's the second leading rusher. I think he's the leading rusher in Power 4 football. The country's leading rusher is with former Auburn coach Charles Kelly at Jacksonville State. Cam Cook, who
Oh, nice.
transferred from TCU. But Hardy is the leading Power 4 rusher right now. It seems like it's going to be a black and blue game. When you see a spread move from 3 points, um, favor Auburn, 1.5 favor Auburn to 1.5 favor Missouri, is that like a ploy to get more people to bet on Missouri, maybe, or what's that tell you?
Well, early on when it was 2.5, I think it opened Auburn 2.5.
Oh wow,
Yeah, and so that's them begging you to take Missouri. I mean, we kind of saw that similarly with Georgia last week, where I thought that line was pretty small, and they were begging you to take Georgia. And so, like, I think Vegas likes Auburn. I think they think
mm,
they're a good team. That's just they haven't been able to win, but they've kind of nailed it as of late. And in fact, if Gunnar Stockton does the right thing last week and doesn't score a touchdown and just goes down at the 1 or the 2 so they can ice the game, like they would have been right. It would have been a 3-point game. So I think they early on they were begging you to take Missouri. And so now I think it's actually right. I think
follow the money.
Yeah. I think Missouri should be a slight favorite there. I like I said though, I like Auburn in this one. Call me crazy, but Auburn's going to ruin someone's season this year.
Yeah.
Whether it's Missouri, whether it's Vanderbilt, whether it's Alabama. Oh, that'd be awesome. They're in a prime spot to ruin someone's season. It was almost Oklahoma. It was almost A&M. It was almost Georgia. I don't. They're gonna get one, Dukes. I just don't think there's a way that they don't. And so I'm saying it's Missouri tomorrow.
Oh, all right, man. Zach, where can everybody find you on social media and your work?
Yeah, at Z Blackerby on social media, wherever, and then just search Locked on Auburn wherever you get your podcast.
Oh man, too much love, man. I appreciate it, Zach.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
All right, man.